Hello, and thank you for joining us today in our studies of 1 Samuel. Today we're in 1 Samuel chapter 27. Now, this is a short little chapter, it's only 12 verses, but there's still a number of things for us to try to talk about and for us to try to look at from this particular chapter. And so let's take a couple of minutes and examine a couple of those things. The first one is not really found in the text, but rather it is a reminder about the text. I want us to remember that this is a narrative in the way that it's being laid out. And what I mean by that is this. You notice that in chapter 27, you do not have any kind of a statement of God told David to do this, that, and the other, which means David is the one who made this decision on his own. This was what David chose to do. These were the directions that David chose to go. There are going to be things in this chapter that are going to cause us to look and say, well, that's not what he should have done, or that wasn't the right choice to make, whether it be in the lies that he tells or in the way that he conducts his raids or whatever the case might be. But you need to remember in this that this is a narrative. This is simply a recounting of what it was that David did. When there are instances where it says God told David to do this, and God did it, and David did it, then you have the means of being able to say this was what God wanted David to do. But on other occasions, such as what we find here in chapter 27, it may not always be that this is the right choice, or that this was the best thing, or that this was even the thing that was going to be pleasing to God in all things. But rather, this is what David chose to do, and therefore it is being recorded in this way. And so just a reminder of that from chapter 27. And we're going to see this in many different instances over the course of our studies, especially in the Old Testament, that there are many different places where God is simply telling you what happened, not going into the greatest detail of whether or not it was the right choice, the wrong choice, or what he wanted to be done. There will be plenty of places where he does do that, but not everywhere. The second thing I want us to notice is in the first part of chapter 27, the situations that arise when you start dealing with a bad reputation. And our reputations can be good, our reputations can be bad, but there are dangers associated with reputation as well. Remember back in chapter 26, when David spares Saul the second time, Saul promises he will never go after David again. And yet in verse 2 of chapter 27, or verse 1 rather, David is going to make the statement to himself, if I stay here, I will perish because he will come after me again. At least on one occasion before this, Saul has said he wouldn't come after David again, and then he does. David realizes that Saul is not going to keep his word. There is going to come the time when Saul is going to come after him again. Our reputation precedes us. And when sometimes we wonder why people won't trust us, or when people won't tell us things that they would tell somebody else, or things of that nature, maybe we need to wonder whether or not our reputation is getting in our way. Are we ones who are being honest? Are we ones who are being upright? Are we ones who are handling things correctly and keeping our word? And when we say we're going to hold something, we hold it and we don't tell it or we don't give it away. Reputation has its very important points, but it also has its dangers to go along with it, because reputation can be good or bad. Saul has worked to a point where there is a reputation, especially with David, and it is the reputation that he cannot be trusted, that eventually he will turn on you. We need to watch what our reputation is, and we need to watch the way our reputation presents itself to those around us. The third thing that I want us to notice from this chapter, and it kind of goes back to the first thing on the narrative, is that at the end of the chapter, as David comes in to Achish, the king of Gath, and as he is seeking to make himself amenable to the king of a foreign country, and to the king of a land that he has fought against for years, he is going to utilize two main tools. He is going to utilize favor and deception. He is going to seek for the favor of Achish, and Achish is going to give him Ziklag. And then he is going to utilize deception by going on these raids. And these raids are actually going to go against the peoples that are the allies of the Philistines, people that Achish would not want David raiding. And yet when he comes back, he lies and says he's going against the people of Judah or the Kenites, who are allies of Judah in the south, and so on and so forth. David is going to utilize favor and deception in order to weasel his way into the good graces of the king of Gath. Right choice? No. Right way of doing things? No. But David is going to go to extreme measures to ensure that his family and his men are safe from Saul. These are some of the things that I found in 1 Samuel chapter 27. I hope they're useful to you. Next time, we'll come back and we'll begin looking at 1 Samuel chapter 28. But until then, have a great day.